Welcome to the number one South Asian radio station in North America, Rukus Avenue Radio.
You're listening to Rukus Avenue Radio, Dash Radio's exclusive South Asian radio station. Welcome to our show, Lifeforce, where we explore the magical, mystical forces that awaken our lives. Today, we're going to talk about reaching the stars, as in reaching the pinnacle of material success, fame, and fortune, but also that force inside us that makes us reach yet again for another star, this one inside us. For when we glow brightly, who we are and what we create lifts not only us up, but the world. I'm your host, Shilpa Agarwal, and I'm thrilled to welcome singer-songwriter Siva Kaneswaran to speak with us today. Born in Ireland, the youngest of 8 kids to a Sri Lankan father and Irish mother, Siva got hooked on soul and R&B as a child. Moving to London, his first music audition, competing against 9,000 other contestants, led to a spot in the British boy band The Wanted in 2009. The band went on to sell millions of albums and sell out shows internationally during their 4-year tenure together. The band earned multiple awards with Glad You Came and a gold plaque for Chasing the Sun, in addition to starring in the E-series The Wanted Life. In 2015, The Wanted disbanded, and Siva moved on to the next chapter of his life, including stepping into his own as a solo artist. Welcome, Siva.
Hi, Shilpa. Thank you so much for having me on. What an introduction. Thank you so much. I'm so blessed to be here.
It's such an honor to have you. So you come from quite a musical background. 2 of your brothers were in the final round with you for this, for the auditions of The Wanted. Your sister Hazel is a Irish recording artist. How did that music manifest in your household growing up?
I think it was just a big, loud family. It was kind of like, we always say we thought of ourselves as like the Jackson 5 of Ireland. We had this idea, this childish idea of ourselves. And so we sang a lot. And my dad, he loved music. He always played music in the house. And he always encouraged us to sing. And my mother was the same. And so we just grew up listening to every song on the radio, pop music, soul music. And I grew up listening to Bob Marley and Lionel Richie. They were my two. And so my earliest memories was just sitting there with the vinyl and just sitting there for hours, bored, listening to these songs. And then eventually growing up and just appreciating every facet of these songs and where they come from and the meaning of them. It was just a wonderful musical childhood, but it was very crazy being in a big family. I must admit, there's 8 kids.
Yeah, I can't imagine that. So, you talk about in some of your posts about growing up biracial and brown-skinned in a mostly white, homogenous society. How did that impact you in terms of like defining who you were?
Yeah, Ireland isn't very brown. Well, it wasn't very brown when I grew up there. It's predominantly a white country, and it was, for me, it was a bit more difficult than a lot of Indian families or biracial families as regards to, like, my father. He passed away when I was 6, and I can remember my earliest memories as like speaking to him in Tamil and learning the ways of my culture. And when he passed, I felt like I'd lost a part of my culture. And so it was quite a confusing time growing up in Ireland, trying to find the sources of my culture in which the only culture there was like Catholic, very Catholic and very tight Catholic families. And so I ended up kind of leaning towards my mother's side and her Catholic family, but as I got older, I started realizing I'm leaning more into my Indian heritage and my culture and my family in like Singapore, all my Indian family in Singapore and Sri Lankan family. But yeah, it was quite a confusing time as regards to just like, who am I? Who am I?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you talk about how, I mean, it seems like this side of you, this Sri Lankan side is kind of pulling on you, because you wrote recently, you said, quote, "Many years later, I now know his," meaning your father's, "presence has never left me. He has turned my traumas into triumphs and showed me a beautiful lesson," end quote. Can you tell us a little bit about this process of turning your traumas into triumphs, and what is the lesson?
Wow, these are deep questions, Shilpa. Oh wow, okay. Well, I need to get comfortable for this. This is
Yeah, get comfortable.
I should have got a cup of tea or something. Thank you for. Let's go deep. I love it. I feel like that a lot of my memories of those experiences were met with like anger and frustration and loss and a lot of, I'm not going to say negative emotions, but just a lot of struggle and anxieties and triggers. And I used to think of those things and think, oh, why me? Why me? You know? And now when I got older, I realized that they made me such like, they crafted me into the person I am now as an artist, and how sensitive I am to other people's feelings and how I can relate to loss and support other people and through my art. And just, I feel like it made me just a way more sensitive person. You know,
Yeah.
it made me just, my empathy for other people and just other situations. It was just so, I didn't realize it was there, but then as I got older, I was like, wow, I really see more and feel more. And I said, where did that come from? You know, it came from the touch of my father's loss. You know, it came
Yeah,
from
of course.
all of us like being in that space and fully feeling it. And that's a gift. I really believe that's a gift. I think that not a lot of people experience that so early. So I was so young, and looking back, I think, oh my God, like if I was like I see pictures of myself as a kid, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like look at it. I just have no idea what's going on. I had a great childhood, but as you guys said, I was constantly happy. But now that I think of it, there was that kind of seed in there that was waiting to grow and flourish in my emotions, and that just has helped me in all my relationships and in my work. And as a human being, I'm so happy I'm here.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to say I wouldn't change a thing, because things are meant to be. You know.
Wow. That's really powerful to be able to come to that place. Yeah. Wow. So, you know, you're a very spiritual person. You say this about yourself as well as you just embody this. You grew up in a very Catholic, in a Irish household. Was it Irish Catholic?
Mm-hmm.
So how did you then? And then you talk a little bit about your father bringing in. He was Tamilian, Sri Lankan. How did you then develop your spiritual beliefs and practices?
I think it all happened quite organically. My earliest memories was praying by my father, which I just hold him so dearly. And we had like a shrine in the corner of our living room, and all the gods and goddesses in the corner. I used to bow and pray with him. And so, and he was a Hindu, and when he passed, I kind of, I guess, still, I guess I moved to Catholicism because it was so present in the household also, and that kind of supported me in my spiritual journey. And it was those religions at the time that kind of supported me, going back and forth and merging those two together and trying to make sense of this new thing, these two combinations, not choosing one over the other. That kind of supported me and helped me grow into just having an understanding of all religions, like how there's good and bad in all religions, and also to take what you want from them and to see what you resonate with. As regards to me as a spiritual person, now more so than ever, I just find beauty in all religions and all spiritual practices, and support everyone in what they practice. And I think that was a part of growing up in that household. So without judgments, without shame, just loving them for what they are.
That's beautiful. So you became a very big star very early on in your life. In some ways, you were defined by others before you were able to define yourself. So how were you defined? Who was Siva as a member of the Wanted?
Okay, this is an interesting question because I now know the answer in reflection.
Yeah.
Siva was like the multicultural Indian boy in Irish Indian boy in a English boy band. And he was two different people. He was Siva on the west side of the planet, and he was Shiva on the east side of the planet, which was quite an extraordinary experience as regards to like going to Singapore or doing a gig in Dubai or like China, and everyone would come up and speak to me as Shiva and speak to me as Indian rather than, and then I'd go to do Ellen or do Chelsea lately, and Chelsea was like, "Oh, speak to me in an Irish accent," and I'm Irish, and I was like, "What is going?" It was like just people just chose to identify me the way they're by the regions they were from, you know, and
wow,
that was an interesting experience because I didn't fully know who I was.
So two things. What worldly things did you learn about? Did you learn from being in the Wanted in terms of, you know, you said only 20% was the glamour. And then what did the experience teach you about being a human being? So non-worldly thing.
I think the most vivid memories I have are moments which are just the most human. And when I look back on the money and the success, there's not a lot of memories there. Like there's like stage shows and we did like arena gigs, and those memories are wonderful, and there are moments they kind of blur into one. But the real memories I have are moments of like just an intimate share of a fan, or an intimate moment where you've changed someone's life, whether it's a family member or like one of my nieces saying my name when they come on TV, or, you know, like Siva is the first word. Like these things are just like gold to me, especially when you're living in a space and in a business where it's so fake. It's like it can be very just manufactured, and you get some real moments of
authenticity.
Yeah, and I think looking back, they're the things I'm always going to remember. They're the things I hold hold dear to my heart, like just etched into my heart, that give me strength when I'm like, oh, what am I doing this for? Oh, this is so hard. Is this ever going to be out? Am I ever going to hear this? Oh, I'm terrible. I'm so bad. Oh, and then it's like, no, actually, this is what happens. Like,
I love that. I love that. Thank you, Siva. We're going to take a break and we'll be back to Lifeforce after this message.
Hi, this is Anushka Shankar, and you're listening to Rukus Avenue Radio.
Welcome back to Lifeforce. I'm your host, Shilpa Agarwal, and I'm here with singer-songwriter Siva Kaneswaran. Okay, so a band that becomes that big with so many forces pulling at it, it doesn't seem that it's sustainable. So as incredible as the experience was, so, you know, you talk about, it was while you were filming the reality TV show, all of you were living in this luxurious Hollywood mansion, and you were on social media all the time, you were being filmed all the time, and then that's when you started to feel this need for freedom. Can you tell us about this feeling coming into you, how you started listening to it, Was it hard to kind of make that decision to step away?
I think it became a very easy decision when it was like, I feel like at the time it was very easy because there was lots of tensions and there was stress from being in this industry where they ask so much of you as a creator, and we kind of, I personally wanted my creative freedom, as, for example, like I would make a song and I would have it my way. It just who it is, me, and it would have to be scrutinized by label people and fellow band members, and every relationship you have around you scrutinizes it and wants to change and chop and this and this, and so you don't kind of have the essence of you as a creator. It gets affected, and that was kind of the same with everyone in the band, and also in every artistic medium. So if it was a single cover, if it was a video idea, if it was just all it was all so impersonal. It became so impersonal, and so you kind of, at that time, I felt like I wasn't an artist anymore. I just felt like I was a thing that just did a commodity, and I was aware that I was that, of course, because I was in a manufactured band. I was aware of that, but then I was realizing that my creative source, I was losing my creative channel, if I would say it in a kind of more abstract way. The source of where I gained my inspiration, my creative force, my happiness, my expression, the love of it. Yeah. It was all failing. It was all just falling away. It became just like the money part and the business side just became the most important thing rather than the actual art of it.
It's amazing that you saw that and listened to it and decided this is not worth it. I'm getting out, because a lot of people don't get out and they say that the carrot is too big, and then they pay for it. But you got out, and I think that says a lot about who you are as a person. So, you met a lot of famous people during your time with the band. You traveled around the world. I saw photos of you with like Snoop, the Kardashians, the cast of Star Trek, Priyanka Chopra. I saw you with your own doll. That was surprising. I'm sure there were many more. And you talked about like your best memories are about with just someone that you would just meet, a fan or something like that. Is there a specific memory or someone that gave you advice along the way that you feel like stands out or you took to heart? Someone that you met?
Oh, I've got a few. I'll tell you two different ones.
Okay.
One was very a beautiful memory. When I was doing this, we did like the school tour, like you travel around the UK and you visit schools and do gigs. And I remember I was just starting off. I was really nervous about doing performances and just like, oh my God, what's going to happen? And I'm terrified of these 2-year-olds watching me. And I remember saying, because my middle name is Stephen, so it's Siva, Stephen, Michael, Kaneswaran. And I remember going on stage and like, hi, my name is Siva, and everyone was like, all the kids were like, oh, hello, and they couldn't say it. The kids couldn't say it. It didn't matter what age they were, they just couldn't say it. And so I used to say, my middle name is Steve, and everyone got it. Everyone got Steve, right? And so I'd go and say, hey, my name is Siva, but my middle name is Steve, to these kids. And so we made it was a kind of a joke out of it. Now looking back, I think, what was I doing? This was my name, But I remember this Indian teacher came up to me after like one of the school gigs. I think it was like when I started doing it, and she was like, why do you call your name, say Steve? And I was like, oh, because the kids can understand Steve and they react to it or respond to it, and my first name can be quite confusing. And she said to me, like, your name is Siva. Like, I think you have a beautiful name. Your name is a beautiful name, and it comes from a beautiful culture. And I would love for you to embrace that. I'd love for you to embrace that. And it is a beautiful name spoken by millions and millions of people on the planet. And I was just like, whoa, like, who is this woman? Who is this woman taking the time to come up to me and just like share with me how like, no, I see your name is beautiful. You don't need to change your name for anybody. And I was like 20, 21, 22, trying to figure this all out. And she really grounded me. So I'm very thankful for her for just saying, no, your name is beautiful. And I kind of had the idea that my name isn't important. Like, and no one else changed their name, you know. That was one beautiful memory. So I'm thankful for her. And the second memory was a fan, and she was terminally ill. She was in hospital for like nine months, and just watching DVDs and just living in this whole life is in there. Like, the people in there are our friends, and the doctors are our friends. And I walked into her, and I sat down beside her and started asking her about her like books, her favorite books and her favorite movies. And she was just talking to me, and she wasn't really smiling. And then after like 10 minutes, she cracked a smile, and she was like talking about certain books she likes, and just started like yapping away, gossiping away to me, like, just like, she was only, I think, 15, 16. So her father was in the room, and he got really upset, and ran out of the room. Like, it was kind of shocking, because I was like, oh, did I say something wrong? And he just couldn't tell me in front of her. And so we had a kind of hang out in the room, and I went out to the father and said, I'm sorry, did I say something wrong? Did I upset you? Or did I upset her? I'm so sorry. And he said that it's absolutely fine. While he was just bawling, he says, absolutely fine. It's the first time I've seen my daughter cry in like 8 months. I've seen my daughter laugh in 8 months. And I was like, oh wow, I didn't realize how much, like, that to a father, that's like, all you want to do is make your daughter happy.
Yes.
And you can try as much as you can. If she's just not happy, she's just not happy. And then suddenly this kid comes in who doesn't like know what's happening, really understand the actual gravity of the situation, and makes your daughter smile and laugh for only 10 minutes, which was just a gift to him. And so these are like, these moments like that, I just like, that is
wow. You're gonna make me cry. That's just incredibly beautiful.
Yeah,
so beautiful.
And that's what I do it for. Every time I feel like, oh my God, why am I doing this? And the artist way, you know, it's like we have that moment where it's just like, what, is this right? Should I be doing this? And then I just think back to, I've got wonderful like anchoring memories that keep me going, and that's why I do it.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So when you talk about being grounded, you've been described as being grounded even back when you were in The Wanted, and you describe yourself as being grounded. Where did this groundedness come from, and what grounds you?
I think how I was raised. I was raised quite in a humble environment. My family wasn't very, very wealthy, and we weren't like, we just didn't. We saw life in a very realistic way, and didn't have any expectations of each other. And I think that rubbed off on me growing up in Ireland, and also just having my Indian family on the other side of the planet too, sharing their knowledge and sharing their advice. And most of my family are in Singapore now, so I was going back and forth visiting my family in Singapore too, seeing their ways, and it gave me a very balanced look on life, like in culture, and also in just when you're in someone else's country / home, and you're in somebody else's home, you start realizing your own biases, unconscious biases, and it was just a really humbling experience, just being around that growing up. It shaped how I saw things. And so I had an idea that I was grounded. Looking back now, I think, okay, I was maybe less grounded than I thought I was. But I thought I was, because you're a kid and you have these like fantastical things.
Yeah.
You're constantly learning. But
Yeah.
I felt like I had a grounded look on things.
Yeah. I think so, for sure. For as much as you can be when you're that age.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So from that time to now as a solo artist, you've kind of grown and expanded into many different areas. I mean, you've gone into modeling and fashion and acting. And what did you discover about yourself along the way as you've gone into these different areas?
Well, with acting, I moved to LA to explore acting, and because I was afraid of it, and I was like, oh, that's just, I need to lean into my fears. And why am I afraid of this? What is it that I'm afraid of? Because usually fears come from yourself, like it's limitations in yourself. And so like acting was like, there was a certain type of truth in acting. You really have to find truth in the moment. Mm-hmm. And I was like, why am I not in my full truth? Why is this happening? Because I kind of have that with music, but with showing up on stage or showing up and doing a scene, you kind of have to have a certain belief in yourself. And why do I not believe in myself? Why do I not do all these things? And so that was challenging, and I saw like growth in that area, and that's why I went into acting. And modeling was just fun. Modeling was like, people like, when I did it when I was like 16 to before the band, 16 to like 18, 19, on and off, and it was nice to be adored. It was nice the vanity of it was nice to do like catwalks and stuff as a kid. And when you're a kid, it's fantastical. It's just amazing. And then
I have to say, some of the comments on your page, there was one fan that said, "I live for your jawline." I was like, wow.
Yeah, it was like, it's nice because like growing up in Ireland, you're different. It's like, it's not exactly seen as, I wasn't exactly, this is my perception, maybe it wasn't true, but I felt like I wasn't very desirable. I was different. And I was the Indian kid in school. I was the only Indian kid in my whole school. So you see the yearbook, every year it was white, and in the corner was this brown face, like smiling.
And that was one of your siblings, right?
It was me.
It was you. Oh, but I was going to say all the other previous years is probably one of your siblings.
Oh yeah. So yeah. And so like I felt like doing modeling was like, hey, you know, I felt like I was seen and celebrated. And I never thought I was this, like, this. I never thought I had I call it pretty privilege. Never thought that. I felt like I was just like a normal and just a normal kid. Yeah. And when I moved to London, I got spotted by Kate Moss's agency in London, Storm, and they were really excited about working with me, and that brought me around the world to do like G-Star and Armani, and when I was like 19 in London. So that was before the band. So I knew like, wow, I can make money from this.
Yeah.
You know, when you're living in London, it's a really hard city to live in. And so that was like just fun. Modeling was fun. Yeah. And I totally recommend it to everyone at some point, not for your whole life, because it can make you feel very vain, but I do recommend it. Like just, it brought me to a new understanding of just like, hey, I can like myself, and maybe like myself. But at the time I was young, and when you're young, you're just like, oh, I've got all these negative things to say about myself. Yeah,
that's very powerful. You know? Very, very powerful. So I asked who Siva was as a member of the band The Wanted. So who is Siva as a solo artist?
I'm still trying to discover that, you know.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to who is Siva as a solo artist? Siva is this forest boy who loves to create music in healing and storytelling, and in sharing his experiences, wanting to create moments for everyone else in hope that he leaves some kind impression on the planet after he goes.
I love that. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for a quick break for this message from our station.
Hi, we're the Bollywood Boys. Listen to Ruckus Avenue Radio at dashradio.com.
And download the Dash Radio app for complete access to our station.
24 hours a day,
7 days a week.
Welcome back to Lifeforce. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Radio Lifeforce. I'm speaking here today with singer-songwriter Siva Kaneswaran. Okay, sometimes, and I don't think the world appreciates this because there's this pressure to produce, but sometimes I think we need to just gestate and be still in order to create. And sometimes we need to refill the well. And sometimes it's just about us taking time to listen and to know what it is we're supposed to do, like what you said about meditating and whatever comes, whether it's big or small. Your new single, Breathe In, took you 3 years to make. Can you tell us about the journey you've made inside yourself those 3 years?
Oh, this was such a beautiful journey, Breathe In, because I was just sharing my own experiences with breathing and what I'd learned, and it came from just my wanting to share to my nieces and nephews of like, here's what I'm doing to like heal myself with traumas and anxieties, and then it ended up becoming just something so like something that's just represented me so much. You know, it was my art. It came. I just wanted it to come from me in its purest form, without any just egos getting in the way. It's just I think that ruins art. Ego ruins art sometimes. And so Breathe In was an introduction to who I am as a person now, years later. And the reason why I focused on the breath is because the breath is one of the most powerful keys, I believe, in unlocking your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. And from my experience of focusing on the breath and slowing it down when I'm dealing with things, even if it's just taking 2 belly breaths, if I feel a reaction coming or if I'm feeling reactive, it healed me so much. It grounded me in so many situations I was in, whether it was in music or in any art form. And like the song itself, Breathe In, it was my inner dialogue of how I came to that conclusion of how.
So let's go into that. You write, these are the lyrics. You write a quote, but I just want it to be perfect. Denied the fact that I was burning inside. Kept on going when it's hurting. I had to stop to make it worth again. End quote. Tell us a little bit about those lyrics. So beautiful.
I'm like,
powerful.
As you're saying it, I'm like, okay, because I remember thinking it. I remember thinking it and being like, oh my God, like just going through it. I had this idea that I have to be this way for such a long time, especially from where I came from, like the vanity of it all, just the vanity of like modeling and the vanity of music and in a pop group and stuff. And I was like, oh, I just wanted to be perfect so much, like be perfect for everyone else, like, and just it caused me so much pain. Perfection, it wasn't really perfection. It was, it was progress. It was just, but I held myself onto, if I wasn't this way, then it was wrong or bad, or it was not right. And then again, I had some soul loss in that process, just like where I couldn't find myself in it, and I wanted to find myself again.
Yeah.
And I think that was how I felt during that time with that line. But everyone wants to be perfect. Everyone wants to try and do the best they can. It's just I just realized that perfection was like such a far reach, and
And so damaging in many
Oh,
ways.
it was so. I'm not going to say unhealthy, but I'm saying like I think it was just not fair. It wasn't fair on yourself. Yeah, just to think that way, and you're perfect just the way you are. So.
Yeah, I love that. You're perfect just the way you are. Let's talk about your stunning music video. In an interview last fall with Billboard, you say, quote, "The song Breathe In always felt elemental to me, so I wanted the theme and inspiration behind the video to be water. Then I asked myself, where does breath come from? It's borrowed from Mother Nature, so I wanted to show and express how I heal with nature," end quote. Wow, that's so powerful. The video is clearly about the elements: water, air, space, earth, fire. I would say what I felt very strongly was water and space. Can you tell us about how you put together the visual aspects of this storytelling?
It was a day by day experience putting the video together. I love it so much. I'm so proud of like how it came about. It was quite, to be honest, it was quite magical. I'm just going to say it. How it happened was quite magical. Like I can't even ignore like just how fantastical it was, how it all came about. And it originally started with me writing a song and then feeling what it felt like just what it looked like, and it felt. It moved as I was creating the song. It moved in the chorus. The production moved like a crash of a wave, and also I wanted my emotions to be like emotions move, and they change shape like water. And the lyric was waters crashing, waters breaking in on me, and I was like, okay, let's start there. It feels like it feels right. And so I created a mood board of air and breath and water, and it just fit so well. And so that was the first step. Okay, that was like I didn't know what was going to happen next. And then so I got the director was also the producer, and I flew him in from Sweden. And I created like a whole mood board of the video of where I felt like were beautiful places to visit in California, and where I think that we could capture some greenery and some sand, and because emotions can be seasonal, and I wanted to show that in the video. And so it ended up, it was in March last year, and it just got, we blocked out like 4 or 5 days to film it. And day one was like, the weather just changed like so bad. You know, if you don't come from like LA, like it's just sunny every day. And so the Swedish people are from like Sweden, and it's cold and snowy. And they're expecting sunshine, and they landed in like rain. And I was like, oh my god, it's ruining the whole, like I've fixed up the locations, the clothing, the just like the styling, everything. And so I thought, no, let's just go with how I feel and take it day by day, like the song. And we ended up just traveling through California, so all like the national parks, and every day had a different mood to it. Every day was like sunset. It was a beautiful sunset in one scene. I was like, oh my god, let's film this and do it here. And then I wanted Sequoia to be green, like have nature, but it was snowing, and I was like, oh my god, it's snowing in Sequoia. Okay, let's just film this here. And I had a spare jacket in my car that looked perfect for this scene, and I just put it on, and like it looks like it was planned, like the whole video. No planning, just literally day by day, just saying this looks good, this feels right. And it just ended up being so exactly what I wanted: elemental, seasonal, and moving from sunrise. The video begins with sunrise and it ends with a sunset. It just naturally formed that way from the movement of the song and from how we all kind of came about doing it in 4 days.
I can't believe that. That's incredible. It's really incredibly powerful. Beautiful. So one of the most powerful lines of your song is, "I know this dream is bigger than me." in a way, you've lived a worldly dream in your early 20s, but now you're stepping into a bigger dream, something bigger than I think even you can conceive. Is that right? I mean, do you feel like something is pushing you that you can't even fathom? Or do you
Yeah.
feel like when you say the dream is bigger than me, what do you mean by that?
Okay. I remember writing it and thinking, what a great just personal feeling. I've always held this idea that you could always dream bigger. You could always dream and welcome in bigger things and welcome in new horizons and a new way of looking at things. And I've obviously come from an amazing career in a band, and I feel like I'm growing. I felt like I was growing into a space of just, oh my God, what's next? What's next? What's next? I know there's something else that's next, and I can feel it coming. And I wanted to just put that into a few lines to share that, and hope that when someone hears it, that it's like a universal thing. When you feel it, you welcome it. You welcome it into your life, and it's. How do I say it in a concise way? It was just a thing. It's an entity. It was a dream. Like I always make sure to dream bigger than myself, as regards to there's no limits. There's no limits.
Yeah.
Never limit yourself, because the universe can bring so much more to you, and if you just dream it, you can achieve it.
I love that. That is so powerful. And is that the message you want your listeners to take away from the song?
Oh, there's so many messages. Really, there's so many internal messages in the song, but that is one of them. That is one of the main messages. If I had to say, breathing in and realizing that you're so much bigger than you are, and you can dream as big as you want, and there's no limits to it.
Wow. That is so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. We'll continue after this message from our station.
Hi, this is Victorious. Listen to Rukus Avenue Radio at dashradio.com and download the Dash Radio app for complete access. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to our station.
Welcome back to Lifeforce. We're speaking with singer-songwriter Siva Kaneswaran. Okay, Siva, you've been an advocate for a number of charitable organizations and causes for a long time. Recently on Instagram, you posted, quote, "We started the year with our planet's lungs burning, 1 billion animals dying, blowing up one another, and now a virus." What is the cause this is very powerful. Just a lot is happening in the world. What is it? How do you want to take this kind of destructive energy, and what do you want to do with it when you post something like this?
I truly believe that artists, all type of artists, create this window in space, and it's a window from their storytelling of what the future could look like. And it doesn't matter who you are, if you're a writer, if you're a singer or a painter. If you created a song, or if you wrote a book, imagining a different world, I truly believe if people read that or experienced it, that they would experience a new future, that's a different future that's possible. And so I feel right now is that someone is, or some, not one person, but a group, or this world is painting a picture that I don't think is very inspiring right now, as regards to where is the hope in this. Because you see all these news articles and all this press, and especially in America, it can be quite it can be quite morbid. It can be quite they don't really let up on assaulting your senses. And my question is like, okay, this is happening. So where's the hope in this? Where are we going from this? Where's the call to action?
Yeah.
Like, and that's what I try to share that in my community. And I know that a lot of stuff is happening, and the world is feeling a lot of pain right now. And maybe it needs to feel pain, and I think it's the least we can do is feel for the planet.
Yes.
Because I think as a result of what's going on is that we haven't been feeling. And what I want to do now is just encourage people to go, hey, let's look into this. Let's look into possible ways to and movements to find routes where we can live in a better world. And so when I post these things, I try not to be too. I don't think was that my full tweet. I don't think that was my.
No.
That was quite.
No, it was very positive. Actually, you gave a very hopeful message. I just pulled the first part that was the desolate part.
Like, that doesn't sound like me. It doesn't sound like desolate. But I always try and let people know that like we always need to have hope, and there's always room for it. There's always a space for that, and it's not over. It's never going to be over. This has been happening for thousands of years. Moments like this, of course, it's felt more now with the given circumstances, but all it takes is one thought, one change of thought and that can ripple into just a movement and into change for like change and healing.
Yeah, I believe that. And speaking of hope, you recently wrote a song called Hope. I think you let me quote this. You said, one day I was feeling absolute despair for the world. And after trying different forms of unhealthy coping mechanisms, I chose to heal and write a song about the opposite, hope, end quote. Can you tell us a little? And the lyrics are so beautiful. They're so simple and yet so incredibly powerful. Can you tell us a little bit about this song and its message?
You really do your research, don't you? Yeah, that was after kind of the beginning of the year, after the forest fires last year, and I was just feeling like, because I know with Breathe In, I did a video too to bring awareness to national forests and to bring awareness to like what protected forests look like. And obviously the forests are on fire, and I was like, oh my God, it was like the opposite of what I was trying to do. I was like, is the universe trying to play a prank on me? And I was in the bath for like two hours, just like with some bath salts and trying to really in my feels. I'm like, I know everyone felt that. Everyone was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's too much. And I felt despair. So I was listening to music to feel better. I was eating foods that weren't very healthy for me, chocolates to cope. I was like on my phone or watching TV and distracting myself, and instead of just sitting with that feeling and going, okay, this is an intense emotion. This is an intense energy that either I convert it or I let it just overwhelm me. So I chose to use that energy to create something, just funnel that into creating the opposite of what I was feeling. So I was feeling despair, and hope was the opposite. It was a kind of just a tiny little offering to everyone in hope.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And speaking of the quarantine, how has it impacted your creative process, or how has it impacted how you are as an artist right now? I know everybody is reacted to it differently, this self kind of imposed quarantine that we're under and what's going on with the world. Some people can't create, some people are creating great works of art. I mean, it's a very interesting process.
Yeah, It's a very interesting process. I think I'm with like everyone else in regards to like just there's some days that are good and some days that are bad. And for example, like the weekend, Saturday was hard. I just felt more.
Yeah.
And there's no reason for it. I just felt more, and I laid down for an hour and was like, okay, just let me just rest because I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed. And mostly during this whole time, I've been very reflective on life, and reflective on my family, checking in 10 times more with my family than I have in the past how many years, in 10 years. Like it's just since because I'm away a lot, and just checking in. And I feel like it's for all of us, maybe I'm speaking too much for all of us, but I feel like we're all going, from what I know with my friends, that we're all kind of going through a global darkness of the soul and just realizing like the veil has fallen and everyone's like, whoa, okay, we actually have to just realize what we got here and take account of these moments that we're living in and what we're blessed for and what we're grateful for. And that's pretty much what I'm going through now. That's just taking it day by day and trying my best to grow out of this. Just use this adversity as something that changes me rather than affects me in a positive or negative way.
Yeah.
And what I've done here as a result is I've kind of bought new studio equipment and kind of tried to dig in more and to kind of expressing myself and releasing some more music and taking full responsibility of myself in every aspect. I can't depend on someone else to do be my savior or be like my support, which is important to have support, but it's basically taking 100% responsibility for my relationships and for my actions during this time. And how will that affect someone else? Because we're all so sensitive right now.
Yes.
Everyone's so sensitive, and it can be really scary for some. So overall, it's 100% reflective, and also I've slowed down a lot and just taken in each moment slower.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Someday in the far off future, when you look back upon your life, what do you hope that you will have brought into this world?
Wow, what a question. Oh, Shilpa. Wow. We gotta do this. We gotta do this every week. Wow. I feel like I hope that people, just like the people I grew up to watching, like when I listening to and watching, like when I grew up looking at Bob Marley and his message in his music, like if all of you listen, if you haven't heard Bob Marley, you have to just sit down and just listen to his music because it's timeless. It's honest, sincere, and authentic, and it's just wrapped in like a wrapping paper of love. And I'm trying my best to reach that space where when I leave the planet, I leave that package for someone else to go, wow, I want to be just like that. Be inspired in that way. I'm trying my best. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying to reach a space where I can be that authentic and be that staple for kids who are just like me, growing up in that same scenario, and just looking for guidance. I'd love to be that.
Yeah, that is so beautiful and powerful. I have one last question for you. What gives you life?
What gives me life? What gives me life? I mean, I think in certain moments in life give me life. Like if it's a smile from a family member, if it's if it's in nature, just in the forest, looking around, going, "Oh my God, am I in heaven? Like, is this what heaven feels like?" Moments like that give me life, and just being able to do, I call it divine work. I feel like it's like to create is divine. If you're already a writer or a singer or painter, it's just creating something new. It's God's work, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like that gives me life too. Just being able to create something that never existed before that could help so many people.
Wow.
And change people's lives. So nature, putting a smile on someone's face, and
doing God's work.
Creating. Yeah.
That is so beautiful. So, to learn more about Siva Kaneswaran, go to @SivaOfficial on Instagram. That is SIVA. Watch and share the replay of this episode of Lifeforce on Spotify. To learn more about Lifeforce or this episode, connect with me at Radio Lifeforce. Thank you so much, Siva. This was incredible. Such an honor to speak with you today.
Oh, listen, the pleasure was all mine, Shilpa. These were deep questions, and I've learned so much about myself. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we end today's episode with Siva's new single, Breathe In. I'm going to read a few of the lyrics. But I just want it to be perfect. Denied the fact that I was burning inside. Kept on going when it's hurting. I had to stop to make it worth it again. I breathe in. Water's breaking in on me. I breathe in. I know this dream is bigger than me.
I was gone past the limit. Had a list for self-control. If you read enough what's in it, 'cause I wrote it all my own. But I just wanted to be perfect. Deny the fact that I was burning inside. Kept on going when it's hurting. I had to stop to make it worth it again. I breathe in. Water's breaking in on me. I breathe in. I know this dream is bigger than me. Had to know what was missing. Past the point of no return. Now I know why I did it. I was scared of being alone. 'Cause I just wanted to be perfect. Deny the fact that I was burning inside. Kept on going when it's hurting. I had to stop to make it worth it again. I breathe in. Water's breaking in on me. I breathe in. I know this dream is bigger than me. Just breathe. I just wanted to be perfect. Just breathe. Had to stop to make it worth it.
Hi, what's poppin'? happened? This is Jyoti K. Listen to Ruckus Avenue Radio at dashradio.com and download the Dash Radio app for complete access 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to our station.